Hello, so this is my video of how I painted my first ever Taylor Swift watercolor painting. I'm sure that doesn't exactly look like her, but my goal was to first at least try somewhere, start somewhere, and it's so difficult to paint humans, especially the way they are and the way they show emotions or don't show emotions. I'm not saying this is how you should paint it, but if you like this painting that I painted, you can. I just want to show you how I did it so you can try and recreate it if you. And the other thing is the outline or the line work of Taylor Swift painting is available on my Patreon, so please join there if you would like that. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So here is my outline of Taylor Swift. I did recognize her face in my drawing, so I think that's a pretty good thing. Then I'm starting to wet the face area and applying Naples yellow reddish. And this is my current favorite for just basic skin tone, and I'm going to apply it where I think the shadows go. So in this layer I'm just basically mapping out the shadows and the highlights of the face. The full list of materials will be listed in the description of this video and of the next two, since this is just part 1. I didn't want to make like an hour-long video of this, so I divided it into 2 different parts. But at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how it will look like when it's all done. I'm gonna add some Quinacridone Coral wet into wet, so that her cheeks are going to be blushed. She's going to have makeup on, or she has makeup on in the reference photo. So I did that. I did blend it out quite a bit so that it looks still kind of natural, even though it is makeup. Next, what I'm doing is I'm painting her hair, and this layer is also basically just to set apart the highlighted areas from the shadowed ones. So basically the ends of her hair and the roots of her hair is going to be the darkest, and obviously the things that are the hair things that are behind her ear. And then you see kind of in the middle of her forehead is going to be a stroke of highlight. So I'm using yellow ochre here mostly, but I'm going to switch up and use for the next layer a lot of greens and browns instead. Now let's give a little bit of love to the eyes. Those are the single most important things I think in any portrait that you can paint, no matter who it is or if it's a human or an animal. If you get the eyes right, then I think you're kind of okay with the rest. So obviously I hold back my breath when I'm painting her eyes. And this is just also the first layer so as to set the white parts apart from the blue parts. And now you can see my sped up process of painting shadows to her hair. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm mixing yellow ochre with Sap Green, and also I'm going to give a little bit of brown into the mixture. Any warm brown will do this trick, and I'm just deepening the colors layer by layer, string by string. Switching to this deeper brown, I'm going to give the face a little bit of a contrast. So the darker the hair around the face, the more bright the face is going to be. So that's why I'm doing that. And as you can see, in some areas I'm doing string by string, and while other areas I'm painting blocks of hair so that it looks a little bit more natural. After that, I'm going to go in with the same brown, but more diluted, and I'm going to start shadowing out. So basically, Taylor most of the time likes to wear her fringe, and that creates some shadows that falls down and onto her eyes. And that's going to be kind of a sharp shadow compared to the rest of the face that is kind of a peachy and very light color. With the same brown that I did the hair and the shadow under her hair, I'm going to give a bit of a shadow under her nose as well, and then I'm going to start structuring her nose. And it looks a bit harsh now, but I promise that later on I'm gonna keep on adding darker and more saturated colors, and it will all start looking more like a face and not so weird like right now. Like right now it looks, her nose looks a bit too contrasty. There is also a natural shadow below her chin on her neck that is the shade of her face falling onto her neck and chest area, and that is very important to paint if you want to paint anything that looks human. So the light comes a little bit from from the right side, so the left side from her face. That's why it's going to be kind of like a diagonal line across her neck. After that, let's paint her lips. The shape of her lips is very distinctive, I think. So I did my best, but I think I made it a little bit too full. But the overall shape is kind of like the shape of her lips. And the general rule that I like to follow while painting the lips is that the top of the lips usually are in the shadow for most of people, and there is a little bit of highlight in the middle of the bottom lip. So that's what I'm trying to map out here, and then later on I'm going to keep adding shadows. I think that most of the girls are scared a bit of under eye darkness or circles, but each people have one. Some people have really light ones, others have darker under eye circles, and of course makeup can help it a lot, but it still needs to be painted on watercolor or on portraits, on any portraits basically, because that's just going to pop the eyes out a little bit more, and also because it looks more natural than if you skip this part. So using a very diluted Perylene purple, I'm going to just create some shadow, like it's barely visible. Like you can see the sharp line that I'm creating right now, and then how I just diluted it so it's barely visible. Now I'm going to create some darker shadows under the hair, so it's just above the eyes. Using the same brown I used for the hair and for the shadows before, I'm just painting basically from the eyebrow down and above the eyeline, so that it creates a very beautiful dark effect and also pops the eye out even further. And then I'm going to lift some of the depths of this brown because I still feel like it's just a bit too much right now, at this stage of the painting at least. In my reference photo, the hair kind of looks almost the same color as her skin, where the two meet. So I'm just going to use this same brown and paint the ends of her hairs. And after I have darkened the other eye area, I'm going to get back to the lips and darken the area where the two lips meet. Going back to the eyes for the second time, using Turquoise the Helio by Schmincke, I'm going to start painting the iris and also creating some shadows around her eyeballs. And I'm so sorry for speaking so slow sometimes, but I need to search for the proper terms of what I'm actually doing or painting. And I know it can be a bit frustrating when you have an English mother tongue, and I don't. It's my second language, so I don't always know the exact names of the anatomy. Her eyes look very inhuman now, by the way, but that's going to change in a minute because what I'm doing right now is using the same helio that Turquoise. I'm going to start shadowing her eyeball. So first I give it an outline. That's kind of when you look at the human eye, that's almost as dark as the pupil itself. And then I'm going to start painting the upper area of the eyeballs. Those are always in the shadow because of the eyelids and the eyelashes. And now, as you can see, she's starting to look a bit more warm and humanly. And right now, this is where it gets kind of starting to be more exciting because I'm starting to paint the intricate details of her eyebrows, the shadows, the darkest shadows of her nostrils, and her eyelids in a more delicate way. So I was a little bit scared to paint this harsh of a color, but the advantage of watercolor, and I think it is an advantage, that it gets a bit lighter as it dries. So I was a bit worried, but in the end it all turned out very nice, I think. Now painting the upper lid, the eyelid, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a wing because in the reference photo she did have a wing that was part of her makeup. Otherwise I wouldn't really paint it that way because it just looks like she has makeup on and sometimes she doesn't. And with a little bit of love and work, she's going to look very nice in the end. You just have to keep working on it because sometimes I really felt like I just need to give it up. But I think in the end, it all kind of ended up very nicely. So with the same exact color, I'm going to paint the nostrils That's the darkest area of the nose. And I'm going to paint this Cupid bow. I think a lot of people don't give it enough attention, and especially for Taylor, it is very visible and very beautiful. After that, with the same exact brown, I'm going to darken the middle area where the two lips meet. As I said it before, that's the darkest of any face, including, the nostrils and the eye area. And then I'm going to give her face an outline, a beautiful outline, and making it stand out a bit more with the same exact brown I've used all throughout this video. And then for the very longest time ever possible, I'm going to play around with her eyelashes, and that's it for the part 1 of this video, of this tutorial, and I really hope you like it. If you would like to recreate this look, this painting, then feel free to do so. I'm going to link my Patreon in the description below, where you can also access the outline of this painting. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in part 2. Bye!